Now that the 17 series is finally released, we get to see brand new features, even in built cooling, which is a game changer for gaming. But what about this beast? If you are using a 16 Pro, should you really upgrade your phone? So let's find out with real gaming tests, where we monitor the FPS levels, benchmarks, thermal checks, and battery consumption over time. Quick recap. We have the 16 Pro with the A18 Pro chipset, 120 frames per second ProMotion, 6.3-inch display, 8.25 millimeters thickness. Before we start, let me thank our sponsor, Top Up Live. Search PUBG Mobile to find the cheapest prices for your UC purchases with discounts of up to 21%. Select the pack you wish to get. Enter your in-game ID. Don't forget to select the 12% coupon you receive when you enter the code LIE. Choose your preferred payment option, and the UC will be available in your account within a few seconds. So visit them now using the link in my comments section.
Okay, so we have my 16 Pro over here, which has 120 FPS. So you can see you can feel that it's really smooth. And what I really like about this device is it's really light compared to the Pro Max, so it's easy to play games with it. So we're gonna try a bunch of different tests on this device to see if it's good for gaming. And you can see I've charged my device up to 100%, so we can do our tests effectively. The game I will be testing on in this video will be PUBG Mobile. But if you guys want me to do a similar video for other mobile games or even console games, make sure to let me know down in the comments. So I want this test to be as practical as possible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play on super smooth and ultra extreme, because you guys are gonna always play on the graphic settings that gives you the smoothest gameplay. So I'm just gonna stick to that, and you can see the rest of the graphic settings I have set up. So without wasting any time, let's get started with the test. Now I'm going to start a timer, and I'm going to take a reading on the temperature of my 16 Pro. So right now it's around at 32.4 degrees. Let's take note of that. The idea will be that I'm going to take readings of the temperature, frame rate, and even the battery levels at 30-minute intervals until the battery of this device is totally drained out. And by then we're gonna observe our readings and decide whether or not the 16 Pro is perfect for gaming, or whether you need to switch to the new 17 series. So keep in mind, we're still at the start of this test. That means the battery percentage is currently at 100%. And as for the frame rate, you can notice in my FPS monitor is running at around 107 to 109 FPS. This is actually a bug you have in the new event. So let me show you how to fix this. So just go to settings, graphic settings, set it to 80 and apply it, and then set it back to 120 and apply it again. And immediately you're gonna notice that the FPS monitor starts showing 118 to 119 FPS. So this means your frame rate is running at 120 FPS without any problem. Just keep in mind that's something you're gonna have to do every time you play a match in the new event. So one thing I really noticed is during hot drops, the frame rate rarely ever fluctuates. It's always stable at around 118 to 119. So just for better reference, here's another clip on where I did the hot drop, but this time the map was even more crowded. But to be honest, I did not notice any frame rate fluctuations. As you can see, the frame rate is still pretty stable at 118 to 119 FPS. So to be honest, this is really good. But this is still the start of our test, so we still need to keep testing for at least 1 hour or more to see if the 16 Pro can still manage to keep the frame rate stable, so that we can make a proper evaluation of the frame rate. Now that we've reached the 30-minute mark, let us have a look at the temperature real quick. Okay, so it's 37. Okay, wait, just wait till it stabilizes. Okay, so it's around 37.8 degrees, so that's actually not pretty bad. That is a small rise since the last time we checked, but that should be okay. And the frame rate is stable as usual. It's at the 118 to 119 mark. And the battery level is currently at 71%, so that's a 30% drop, which is not the best, but let's just test a bit long and see how it goes. So now that we're reaching the 1 hour mark, we can see that the battery level is at 43%, which is quite good, and the temperature right now is 38 degrees, so that's a pretty good reading as well. And as for the frame rate, you can see it's quite stable right now, 118 to 119 as usual. Now we're gonna take a small break and focus on the benchmark test. So right now I already have my 16 Pro undergoing the benchmark test. So basically this test is gonna give us a final overall score which represents how powerful this device is. This benchmark test is currently being done on Antutu benchmark, and basically this score works by testing 4 different areas, which is basically the CPU, GPU, memory, and tests the user experience, which usually includes factors like smoothness. So let's just see how the score turns out. So as you can see, we've received a score of around 2.1 million, which is actually a very good result. Take a look at this screenshot I have of a similar Antutu test done on a 17 Pro Max. So you can see the test result here is 2.3 million, which is just 200,000 points higher than the test done for our 16 Pro. So basically, it's not that much of a huge difference. The 17 Pro Max is indeed powerful, but it's not necessarily a huge difference. One thing that I really need to point out is that on the 16 Pro, it's already been 1 hour of consistent gaming, and as you can see, the frame rate still remains stable throughout this entire time. You can see it's just fluctuating between 118 to 119. Like, even though the temperature rised slightly since the start of our test, the frame rate has just stayed at the same constant level. So that's something I think is a really good positive on this device. Like, it doesn't even matter whether it's a close range fight, squad fight, even a hot drop, the frame rate is just gonna remain stable the entire time. So that's, I think, one of the really good takes on the 16 Pro. And I'm not going to even lie, controlling recoil on the 16 Pro is like so easy. It's just effortless. Like, on top of that, the device is extremely lightweight compared to the 16 Pro. It fits in your hand easily, so it's even easier to like control burst sprays or even continuous sprays, especially at long distances. One final thing I want to see whether the 16 Pro can do is that now that it's been almost 1 hour and 30 minutes of consistent gaming, can the 16 Pro still maintain the steady stable FPS during hot drops? So let's just see how it goes. Okay, so far is that's nothing major. It's like it dropped maybe like to 116, 117, but it just went right back to 170, the 118 to 119 mark. So I feel like that's pretty good right now. As far as frame rates are concerned, when it comes to the 16 Pro, FPS is never an issue, I guess. So that's the main positive with this device. With that, we are now at the end of the 1 hour and 30 minute mark, so let's have a look at the battery level right now. So okay, so it's at 9%, which is not the best considering we only played like 4 games. But besides that, let me have a look at the temperature as well. Okay, so the temperature also, it's still around the 38-degree mark. There's not much of a difference since our previous test at the 1 hour mark. And as for the frame rate remains the same as usual. It hardly ever fluctuates and just stays stable throughout the entire gaming period. So overall, I feel like the only downside to the 16 Pro would be its battery, because the frame rate stayed stable throughout the entire 1.5 hours, and the temperature did not fluctuate that much after the 30-minute mark. So like I said, the only downside is the battery. So time for the big question: should you stick with the 16 Pro or should you upgrade your device? So personally, I feel like there is no reason at all to upgrade your device unless you're specifically going for a device with a better battery. But besides that, the 16 Pro is perfect as it is, especially for gaming. So I'd recommend that you stick to the 16 Pro.